Thank you, everybody, for joining. Welcome to our second Farmers webinar in our series. We're going to try and do these once a month, or at least hope to do these once a month, where we can take a little bit of time and share a little bit of what AI and technology and super agent empower you and can help you do within your agency. We value your time, and we wanted to first show you a little bit of a commercial about why speed to lead is important and what we're trying to accomplish. So we'll start with that.
For years, this is how insurance agents have been cold calling.
This is the list for today.
Hi, this is Brandon from Smith Insurance. Hey, Daniel. Are you looking for a life insurance?
Hello, this is Megan. Are you looking for a life insurance?
This is the 5th time I get the same call today. I don't need life insurance. I already have one.
And by the 6th call, the lead is already dead.
Congratulations, this car is yours now.
Hi, this is Sarah from Super Agent. Huge congratulations on the new car. Since we insured your last vehicle, I'd love to see if we can get your new ride covered with a great returning customer rate.
Yes, sure.
Your producers call lists. Super Agent calls the moment. Speed to lead on autopilot.
So that was kind of a good example of what we all deal with from time to time in our industry. I want to kind of acknowledge the fact that you guys are even here, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if any of you are football fans, but we could be watching the opening match. But just the fact that you're here, we value your time and we really appreciate it. We'll try to be as poignant and direct as possible and quick to try to get you as much information, and then you can head back to something important like watching the World Cup. I'll introduce myself. My name is Will Salguero. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Super Agent. I promise I will not be wearing my marketing hat that much this evening or this morning for some. My experience, 20 years across tech and 24 years across tech and insurance and marketing. I've scaled some of the largest insurtechs on the planet. I was a global chief marketing officer for WeFox back in Europe. I recently came back to the US, been in Europe for about, close to 8 years, hence why the whole soccer World Cup thing. But I'm very proud to be here with you guys today. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Dave.
Hey everyone, glad to be here, and thanks to everyone for joining. Just a little bit about me. I've been in sales in various aspects for over 15 years, enterprise, large companies, small startups. And my focus has just been driving scalable teams and growth across all segments. So wanted to give everyone just an overview of what to expect during this conversation today. First, we're going to dive into the data specifically that keeps agency owners up at night. What are the initiatives and goals that you're looking to solve? Next, we're going to jump into, how does Super Agent help these agency owners from a customer perspective? And then finally, probably, most importantly is to show you exactly what we can do from a demo standpoint. So we'll be going over 3 specific workflows that we've seen implemented to success around farmers in general.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dave. I think the key here is, at worst case is you leave this webinar with information and we empower you to make the right decisions going forward. In terms of how to use AI, how to use technology to truly transform your agency and take it to the next level. We are at a pinnacle point within our industry. Things are changing rapidly across all industries. And traditionally, both banking and insurance have been some of the hardest ones to adopt new technology. When it comes to AI, we're seeing that transition be significantly faster. And we're seeing adoption rates and growth with most agencies and most of our customers significantly quicker than any other technology that personally I've been involved with. Even when internet came on board, or mobile apps, or online comparison websites, all of these things have always taken a little bit more time to adopt, but AI is something completely different. So with that, we'll go straight into a little bit of data. We all know how the quicker you get to a lead, the more likely you are to actually close that lead. If you take an hour, if you take a day, God hope you don't, or if you take more than a day, the lead is practically dead, as our little funky commercial showed. They are not interested anymore. The other thing that we've noticed is that when we leave a voicemail, so let's say, oh yeah, you do call, you do get on the lead immediately, but they don't answer because you were a little bit too late or because they were busy. Anytime we're sending a voicemail, we're pretty much not going to get that. The likelihood is actually significantly lower. And then one of the huge things that we've seen is that most of the time, people are calling after hours, and they're either before they're going to work and the agency's closed, or after they get back from their job and the agency's also closed and they leave a voicemail. There's some sort of reception automated system, and they're just going to go someplace else. They're not going to go. This is something that digital carriers have capitalized on. This is something that they've utilized, this kind of gap in the market, and said, oh, you know what? Well, we will be available whenever you want to call us. We will be online whenever you want to do it. And what happens is that a customer after hours is significantly more likely to just go ahead and purchase something than he is doing work hours. Why? Because he can shop around, he can do this, he can do that. Whereas an after hour, you're like, dude, I just want a policy. Just give me a policy and that's it. Let me go back to sleep. Or I got to hurry up because I got to go to work. So this is something very important that we always need to recognize. The top traffic hours that we have, are in the morning, in the afternoon, after hours, Sundays also. We always see that on Sundays in the afternoon, you're already thinking, oh, what am I going to do next week? What am I going to try, work? And what are the things I need to deal with before I get back to the grind and like go into an entire week of workflow. So these are the times that we need to be more and be able to, address their concerns, or if they have an incentive to purchase something, that's when we want to do it. Again, we all know we are buying leads. We are not the only ones buying these leads. And the quicker we contact that customer, or the first one that gets there is the one that gets a sale. So these are all things that we have learned to live with. How do we do it? Well, when incoming calls come in, we try to answer. When incoming calls come in, we try to hire more people. We put some system in place, or outsource maybe. Not only for outbound, but for inbound calls as well, which is very important. People are coming, people are contacting you. Are you available for them? And how much resources, how much money do you need to put to be actually available, even during working hours? This leads us to the actual cost and why this technology is so valuable for an insurance agency. Not only the impact that it has, economically speaking, on what you're paying for the leads, because obviously they're costing you something. And as we all know, leads that come in after hours are significantly cheaper than ones that are on prime time. But who's contacting them? You're not there. Your producers are already gone having, a martini or a beer, whatever very fancy. They're going jogging. I don't know. And those leads are there and nobody's contacting them. So not only are you wasting money or spending money on those leads, but then also, let's say you do get the leads and let's say you do have prime time or you do have people overtime or in other working hours. It takes humans to call them. How many humans do you have to hire to get these leads and to capitalize on these leads? I'm sure every single agent here in Farmers has heard from their district manager, you got to hire 5 people, or you got to hire more people, or you got to scale and hire and hire and hire. And for us, we're looking at the payroll and we're like, wait, what? Like, this is what has to come out? And it's all math. Like, what am I going to get out of it? How much is it going to cost me? Do I have a funnel and a system that's going to utilize these leads and capitalize on them? This is our biggest challenge, right? And here's where here's where we come in. What is the difference? The average response time to a lead, 2 to 4 hours. We can do it under 2 minutes. AI can do it quickly. Close rate, 8%, we can get that up to 30 plus. After hours leads, we can capture incoming leads or outgoing 24/7. While you're on your second dream, reminiscing on that high school dance that you got the guts to call the girl or ask her out, whatever it is, you're making money. You're making money while you're sleeping. It wasn't Warren Buffett that said, like, you want to make money, you want to grow? It's like, learn to make money while you're sleeping. This is that kind of tool. They're not going to voicemail. They're not being ignored until like 9 a.m. when every Tom, Dick, and Harry is calling those after-hour leads in the morning at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and they're bombarded with leads. And the beauty about all of this, 0 headcount. No more calls from your accountant saying you need to slow down on the hiring. No more dealing with training. Do they work? Because that's the other thing. You hire people, you train them, and then it turns out that, like, I don't know if you guys have ever been fans of the movie Airplane, a little, I'm going to age myself, but maybe have a drinking problem and splash the water on their face. You never know what's going to happen. So this is something that we get here. I'm going to explain simple funnels. We're going to go deep diving into what the technology can do for you really quickly. 3 scenarios. Scenario number 1, internet leads during business hours. You get the lead, the system automatically calls in seconds an outbound AI agent, which, by the way, you will hear today, and you will see how uncanny realistic our AI agents are and how lifelike, empathetic, nice, cheerful, funny they are. Instantly calls them, gets all the information, qualifies them, and if they're ready to purchase, can do a live transfer on the spot to a producer. Scenario number 2, after hours, inbound calls. Again, you're having that dream at 2 in the morning or at 9, I don't know. Somebody calls your agency. Guess what? Our AI agent, Sarah, answers the phone. Hi, how are you? Thank you for calling. Empathetic, nice. Takes all the information that customer requires, automatically books a meeting at a time that they want to speak, or gets the information to generate a quote, and then a licensed agent next morning wakes up, hey, I have this ready. I just need to send it, approve it, quote it, send it, and boom, you're done. Scenario number 3. Old leads, need to reactivate them. They've been sitting there forever. An old customer, somebody that's their policy is about to expire that they need to renew. Maybe there's a life event that we need to account for, any kind of retargeting. We have the leads in the system, and we deploy a multi-channel strategy to get a hold of them. Text message, emails, and voices, all automated. So you don't have to do anything. I don't know who in this table, who in this webinar uses agency Zoom. I am confident you've had the distinct pleasure of setting an automation in that software and your text-based emails. Congrats for that, because that's something to write home about. Here we do it automatically. And again, Dave is going to talk about how we do it, how we implement it, how easy it is. And in the morning, guess what? You have booked meetings, you have new quotes, you have everything ready for you. So I'm not going to bore you anymore with what AI, and again, this is what we do. I am pushing our outfit. I have my marketing hat on, but again, this is the future. This is technology. Whether you use us or not, it's irrelevant. Do not ignore this technology, because your competitors and the guy down the street will not do that. And at the end, if we don't evolve and change, we're dead. So after that ominous warning, I might say, I'm going to hand it over to my amazing friend Dave, and he'll take it from here.
Perfect. Thank you, Will. Without further ado, would love to introduce Mark Butler with us here. And first, Mark, want to thank you for joining us, and would love to start by just giving an intro from your perspective. I know you're an agency owner in California, but give us a sort of an overview of your agency and just how long you've been in the industry, and specifically.
Hey, no worries. I appreciate being able to join on this. Like I said, I'm Mark Butler. I've been in the insurance industry for about 30 years. Originally from New York, had a state farm agency for over 20 years and moved out here a few years ago. So I've had the pleasure of seeing like the very first internet league come through, and then just the growth of technology in our industry all the way through to the point we're at right now. And I concur with what Will was talking about in terms of just there's just so much stuff going on now that just the ability of having some of the options that are here are pretty remarkable.
And what I want to start with is, you've been with Super Agent for over a year now, but what issues were you looking to resolve as you started to evaluate AI?
I think the first thing was, how do you, I think the biggest challenge you have when you have any level of agencies is the human capital piece and maxing them out. How getting good staff and making them, when you find that really great staff person, how do you multiply them, right? Like you love to find 4 more of the same person, right? That's the biggest thing that you can find. And when you don't find them, you're always just trying to find the next one. And so when I met with Super Agent, my first thought was, the holy grail is can I have an AI agent today that can do everything? Like that's what I want day one, right? And they said, well, we're going to get there, but there's a whole bunch of other things that you can do too, that I didn't even think about, that they brought to me. So I think the biggest first thing that I saw that they taught me was like, well, what about your existing staff and getting them better, the new people that you bring in? And one of those things that they showed me was just the different bots and the training agents that train the agents and stuff to get them going at a level that makes them, maxes out their abilities.
And what I want to actually start off with is how are you using Super Agent today from a lead perspective?
So on a lead perspective, what I've recently been doing is, you guys have this thing called outbound agent and also inbound agent, which is really slick in that it allows like a lead that comes in, or any type of like, if farmers, we all have this thing called, they're pushing like, these lists that we can get off of the system there of folks, defectors list and all these different, I forget the name, the technical name of it. But the neat thing is I could download that stuff into the system, into the Super Agent, and it follows up and makes calls for all the folks, defectors, and tries to encourage them to come back, and does a multi-touch approach in terms of like what Will showed there with emails and phone calls, and it does it in non-traditional hours.
So walk me through what you were doing prior to Super Agent in that aspect, how you were handling those leads.
So easiest thing to say is like, I think I'm like everybody else, right? We get to the list of critical stuff that's going on using our CRM, whichever one we use. I've used Zoom, I've used MVP, I've used all the different ones, and they're all pretty cool, but they're only as good as the data that you put in. So I would have a lead to come, like say a lead comes in, my staff comes in at 9 o'clock. The leads come in through the day. Their job is to get on top of that. That person does that lead, makes those phone calls, doesn't get a response, tries again, has a touch approach to it. Give someone like 10 to 20 leads a day. That's the maximum that they can handle on it. And then by 4 or 5 o'clock, they're done with their day and they go home. And then nothing gets worked till the next day at 9 o'clock.
That's an interesting point you bring up. And I'm curious, Marian, has Super Agent altered the way you spend your time verifying who's actually being called and how many touch points are being made?
Yeah, because it does it all. Like it documents everything for you. So like you're not that, you don't have to be that micromanager because it does the micromanaging for you. And it does it in a way that the staff never even gets involved in it. They don't feel it. They don't know it, but you know it. You know, like you don't have to hop on the call and listen to the call for the whole hour or 10 minutes. I can just go on a thing, press a button, and see the red part of a call that probably didn't go too well and listen to it for 20 seconds and know what's going on.
Interesting. And one of the things that we hear on our calls are, the producers aren't going to like AI. They're going to react negatively. From your end, however the producers take into Super Agent.
I think the neat thing about it is I think initially any type of change everyone has a heart attack on because they think they're going to lose money, right? Because the AI is taking over all their stuff and all their responsibilities. But it's just the opposite mindset, really, right? Because if I'm working and I've got Super Agent working with me, all of a sudden Super Agent is taking 30, 40 phone calls and handling them and getting them ready for me to work on them versus me taking those 30 phone calls. I don't even get to the 30.
Yeah.
Right? Super Agent gets them all for me. I will never, my staff will never be as fast as Super Agent is. Right? But they can make my staff faster.
Fantastic.
You follow what I'm saying? Like, it's like you almost have to rethink it. And here's the thing. So if I have a guy that all of a sudden now they're getting to the 30 leads where they were only getting to 10 to 20 before, they go and they get that part to the closing aspect of it. They're making more money on themselves.
Yeah.
It's that whole age of I'm working smarter, not harder.
That's it. Yeah, you're either working harder, more hours, or you're working smarter. And one of the things you brought up is being able to touch more leads is getting you on calls versus leaving voicemails versus dialing out and getting you actual sales versus voicemails. And Will brought this up a little bit ago, but the need to add human capital. Now that you have the technology in place with Super Agent, has that changed the way you've looked at how many headcount you're going to add in the future?
Here's what I'm going to share with you, right? And these are just facts. And these are facts that my the regional vice president guy told me the other day. I didn't even know this, right? I have less staff today than I had last year. My sales are up 90. My production is up 90%, and that's not a joke. 90%. So hey, there's one way of looking at it. Either I was terrible last year and I'm great this year, or there's somewhere in the middle, right? But either way, you slice and dice and cut it. I have more production today than I did last year, and the massive difference is I have less staff and I use Super Agent. That's just the facts.
So the results are always in the middle. That's funny you said that. So speaking of results, you mentioned 90% more. What's looking at the numbers? What do you think's changed with Super Agent specifically?
I think my call increase has increased a ton, right? My intentionality has gotten better. I think that's a massive part, right? Once your staff realizes and understands that things, I hate using the term monitored, that things are understood about how we operate, right? Is a better way to look at it, right? And if we all understand a better way to operate, I think the number one thing is like you listen to a call, there's so many different aspects of Super Agent that you could use. It leads you through the call. It gives you a follow-up on your call, and it gives you an intentional action on the leads and places the calls for you too. Like there's just so many things that it can touch. And that's what, to me, just for a second, is the great thing about Super Agent a little bit is whatever angle you're trying to look at or trying to use, there's an answer that Super Agent kind of gives you that like a lot of these other things that I've tried never answered for me.
You actually stole one of my last questions of what surprised you the most about using Super Agent, but it sounds like the analytics and just the knowledge is giving you.
Yeah, like I think that the folks that are on the call here that are, mostly in the same position that I'm in, there's a multitude of things that you got every day going on, right? to have the benefit of knowing that the foundational functioning of your operation is always being handled. And you don't have to worry about it's 5 o'clock, they're taking off. Or there's a day off that comes in on the vacation night. Or whatever event is going on that is going to preclude them from doing the activities that make us money. Super Agent constantly is in the avenue of trying to make you money. And like that's the game.
Yeah.
World Cup. It'd be the World Cup.
Right.
Yeah. Two more questions before I get you out of here. Number one is, one of the things I hear a lot on calls or, from agency owners is, hey, AI is going to sound robotic. It's not going to sound real. How has your customer base adopted to taking these calls from Super Agent?
I would say, I think whenever like I said, I've tried a bunch of different places, and a lot of different places, it gets very, I used to call the term, it used to be very glitchy to me, right? Like I can figure out like 3 seconds what's going on, and I'd either be annoyed or whatever, right? The Super Agent model over the course of the last year just keeps getting refined and refined and refined. And it's at a point now that I think it's the best that you can find. And that's just my opinion, right? But trust me, I've tried a million things out. I've gone to conventions. I've tried things out. I tried to see what's better. And this is what I found is be the one that feels the most lifelike and the most realistic to the standpoint that the person's staying on the phone, right? They're not hanging up saying I'm annoyed. Like in the commercial you saw earlier. You don't see that.
Yeah. And I'll get you out of here in this, and you've given us a lot of solid information, but going back to just the value pieces of Super Agent, if you could give 1 or 2 bullet points of what those are, what would you say they are for your agency?
I think I could do more. I could do more production. I can handle more leads. I can handle leads at different times. And the cost to it is less than what I used to be paying.
Perfect. That's succinct and well put. Mark, thank you for spending your time with us. We appreciate the insight you provided. It's always helpful, especially from the folks on this call, hearing from someone that's in their shoes. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.
All right. So next, as we promised, we're going to go into the demo before we wrap up with Q&A. It's important to talk through or show you, as we brought up, how our AI sounds, the different formats that you're seeing. And so the 3 areas we're going to cover are speed to lead, your after hours inbound, and your old leads. And so what I will go ahead and do is share my screen and jump in here. So I'm going to take over from you, Will. All right. Now I have my screen up, and I can confirm everyone can see my screen. So you're in the Super Agent platform. And so what we're going to spend our time today focused on is the outbound agent. And so within the outbound agent, that's where we're talking about your speed to lead, which is where we're going to start first. And before diving in, just to give you, a quick overview or just a summary of what to expect in this. Just imagine you're using Agency Zoom as your management system. A lead comes in, and we all know that the speed to that, getting to that lead, calling them is of the utmost importance. And that's why we call it speed to lead. And so what Super Agent does is we connect to Agency Zoom, we see that lead come in, and our AI agent calls to book a meeting with that lead, or more importantly, if they can, do a live transfer to one of your producers to schedule a call. So for the demo purposes here, I want to do a live transfer, but I will go ahead and just set up or have a call here and then set it up for the time to call me back. So we'll start here to test the agent. Now I'll give a fake name as well. Hello, this is John.
Hi, John. This is Sarah from Super Agent Insurance, calling you back about your home insurance quote request. If you're around, please pick up.
Sarah, I'm here. How can I help you today?
Hey, John, this is Sarah, the digital assistant at Super Agent Insurance. You just requested a home insurance quote. Is that still right?
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. I'll get a licensed agent to call you back with your options. What day and time works best for you?
Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern works great for me.
Got it. So Friday, June 12th at 2 p.m. We'll have a licensed agent call you back at your number then. Sound good?
That sounds great. Thank you, Sarah. So for the purposes of this demo, again, I had it set up to where the option at the end was to just have it call me back. But typically with this, we have agencies are setting this up for a live transfer. So then you would see, hey, this is Sarah. Give me a call, giving the pertinent information, and then being able to move over to a live transfer to that producer. And so the producer is also given is a quick summary of what the call is, the information that's already gathered, so they're not guessing to what or the AI agent had a conversation with before. They're also send the email of, hey, this is the focus of the conversation. And so typically agency owners will do this in one of two ways. One way is to say, hey, it's a speed to lead. I just want you to get them on the phone and get them over to a producer as soon as possible. And that was the format you just saw. The other format is, hey, can you get as much information as you possibly can? And then we'll go ahead and then just have almost quote in hand once we call them back. So the nice part about Super Agent is we're able to basically set up a script conform to how you want everything to go. So, and summary of the speed to lead, the goal of that is to get the lead on the call as soon as possible. And, typically within the time that lead coming in and to the time they're called is under a minute. So that's huge for just being able to beat your competitors to getting that lead on the call. So moving on to the next piece we're going to go over is the leads, the old leads. And typically when you think about old leads, you think about leads from 6 months, a year, or 2 years ago. And those aren't the fun leads to call because your chances of closing them are not very high. So they really get the lowest amount of attention in calling. So maybe you'll call them once or twice here and there, but industry research says you have to make 10 to 12 touches before someone actually picks up, leaving multiple voicemails. And so that's where our AI agents come in. So the ability to make those calls repeatedly and get those touch points necessary to then move to, once they answer the call, get them scheduled on one of your producers' calendars. And as Mark mentioned earlier, being able to work more efficiently, smarter, not harder. And so what I'll do is go over just a quick summary, just so you can hear, what it sounds like. But then before moving on to the final agents. And quick recap, with Super Agent, we can build several different agents here, from multilingual, or speak different languages, Mandarin, Spanish. And so it's a vast way that we're able to set up. So
that's, sorry to interrupt, Dave. That's actually something that's very, very important. Adding staff that speaks the language, especially if you're in Texas, if you're in California, how many of your customers are Spanish speaking? Having the people that can communicate with the correct accent, with the correct grammar, with the correct style that your customers like to talk to, and automatically switching on the fly. So if the AI agent recognizes that, oh, they're speaking in Spanish, it will automatically transition to Spanish and be perfectly comfortable explaining everything in Spanish as it goes. If you tell it, hey, you know what, could you speak in Mandarin for me? It'll transition to Mandarin, or Swahili, or whatever your customer decide to talk. So that's something really important that I think is a huge lever for you guys. Sorry, Dave.
No, that's good. And actually, I may do a pivot here and maybe show that the language agent here. Just a quick overview, and to have a little fun with it, I'll say, hey, speak in Mandarin to me. And what you can see from that end is the ability to have a conversation in a different language on the fly.
Thanks for calling Super Agent Insurance. This is Sarah. How can I help you?
Hi, Sarah. I'm going to communicate to you in English. Can you reply to me in Mandarin?
好的，我可以用中文帮助您。请问有什么可以帮您的吗？
Hi, Sarah. I'm in need of auto insurance. Can you help me out?
当然可以，我很乐意为您提供帮助。我们先从一些基本信息开始吧。请问您的全名是什么？
So I won't go over that too much longer, but really the reason why I decided to pivot is that, that's typically one of the areas that we've heard that our competitors don't have set up, whether it's Ring Central, who's not really a competitor, more of a partner, but other tools aren't able to make that transition. And it's one that we have in stock for many different languages. So the last one I'll go over, I know we're at about 20 minutes here. I want to leave 15 minutes for Q&A, is the inbound agent. And so the beginning of this conversation, the conversation was focused on, leads, that are going to waste. Will brought up, most leads are after hours, and the costs for after hours leads are actually cheaper. And so being able to have an inbound agent pick up the phone and get pertinent information, whether it's it's a customer looking for service and being able to route that, or someone looking to submit a claim, or it being a new potential customer looking to get a quote. And so what I'll go over here with you is, what that conversation sounds like, and just what you can expect with Super Agent. And just a fun fact about us, we're headquartered in California, so we've set up the voice of our inbound agent to have that sort of relaxed California vibe.
Thanks for calling Super Agent Insurance. This is Sarah. How can I help you?
Hey, Sarah, I just bought a car and I'm in need of insurance.
Congrats on the new car. That's exciting. Just so I can get the team started on your quote. How did you hear about us?
I looked you up online and I saw that you have the cheapest rates. Is that true?
We work with multiple carriers to find options that fit your needs. So the team will compare and get you competitive rates. So let me get this set up for them. Hang tight. What kind of car did you get? Let's start there.
I got a Mazda CX-9.
Nice choice. That's a great vehicle. What year is it?
2026.
Got it. A brand new 2026 Mazda CX-9. Are you financing it or did you purchase it outright?
I purchased it, and actually, Sarah, can I have a licensed agent give me a call back tomorrow morning?
Of course. The team will give you a call tomorrow morning, probably around 10 or so. Does that timing work for you? Or would you prefer a different time?
That works great for me. Thank you.
Perfect. And they'll reach you at this number, right?
Yep, this works for me. Thank you for your time, Sarah. Perfect. So wanted to go over that just so number one, you see how the agent responds to conversation. This isn't the typical AI when you're calling a cell phone provider and it's prompt, and if it goes off script or if the caller goes off script, then it changes the whole dynamic of the conversation and the AI gets stuck. This is built off of hundreds of hours of insurance calls. And so Sarah, in this case, is able to navigate different aspects of the call, show emotion as a real caller would want to hear, and have a voice that mimics a human as well. And so the realism of that call helps it, these callers stay on the line and engage with the producers once that call is set. So that's fantastic. So I'll stop sharing here, but then just wanted to just quick recap and with Super Agent and say that All of these workflows, and we just showed you a few, are completely customizable to what you're looking for in a solution. And our goal is to make it so it mimics a real life conversation. And so maybe the voice sounds different if you're in New York or Texas than it does in California. Just know that it's customizable based off of where you're located.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dave. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, everybody. I think, we fulfilled our promise that we said at the top of the webinar. We want to explain the situation where you're currently at, what is the technology that's available, and how can it superpower and convert your agency or your agents into super agents, and a brief demo of the technology that is not a technology of the future, it's a technology of today. You can take a little bit of time, scan this QR code, even if you don't use it today, take a picture of it. There is a reason for that. There is a reason. After the call, all the attendees are going to get an email with a very, very good offer where you can actually start and use this technology. We're going to have a really good trial offer for everybody. So I would encourage you to take a picture, book a demo. And then when you are in that demo, you mention, hey, Will told me I would get blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much. It was amazing having you all. Please now hang up and go watch the World Cup. Go Mexico and go, go, go. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.